Farrell's Cedar Valley. I am coming to you today to talk about the InBody body composition scan. After every testing day, we have questions, and a lot of times we have discouraged folks because they're not sure how to read the scan. And while we absolutely want you to come to us and we can help decipher the information on the scan, sometimes people don't ask because maybe they're too embarrassed of what the results show or any other number of reasons. So I'm gonna explain what you're looking at on these scans and the first thing to look at. First off, these things are not 100% perfect. The only real 100% accurate body fat scan is either a water immersion test or a DEXA scan. Both of those are probably out of our budget as far as getting those done. I know that a DEXA scan is probably gonna run you $150-ish, and I don't even know where in the Cedar Valley you could do a water immersion test, but InBodies are pretty accurate if you follow a few key points. You need to be well hydrated when you do an InBody scan. You also need to do it before a workout. Ideally, you will have not eaten and not had any caffeine before your scan, but those last two things are not quite as crucial. But the hydration and before a workout are. Now, the first thing that I look at when I see a scan is I'm looking at the total body water. How much water is in your system compared to your last scan? If it is lower than before, we're not comparing apples to apples anymore. And it's better to do another scan when you're well hydrated. Now, if you're more hydrated than you were before, good, that's a good thing. However, as you go forward and do more of these scans, we will find out what your normal is. I get asked a lot, well, what is normal for me? And I can't tell you that because everybody's normal hydration level is different. So it usually takes 4 or 5 scans before we find your baseline of what is your average hydration level. And then we can determine the scan's accuracy or not. So the first thing I want you to look at is the water. The second is the dry lean mass. The dry lean mass, if that has gone up or down, that's our muscle mass minus water. Now, when we add those two together, that's what's going to equal our lean body mass. And that is the number that if it increases, awesome. Now, for some people, we don't need it to increase. You already have enough muscle mass. So we're looking to hold that steady as much as necessary or increase it. Now, when that number goes up, guess what other number goes up? Your total body weight. So if your body weight is going up and you feel like, oh my gosh, the scale's going up, I don't want to be gaining weight. If your muscle mass is going up, that is a good thing. Let's rock that out. The number that we're mostly looking to reduce, now a few of you are not, this is not your goal, but for most of you, fat loss is the goal. That body fat mass. As long as that number's going down, you are doing great, okay? Now, if you are not properly hydrated, the body fat is not going to read accurately with InBody. And so that is why the first thing you should look at is your hydration level. Because then if the other numbers don't make any sense, that's why. So I've got some folks that are real discouraged because it looks like their weight went up, but their muscle mass went up and their body fat went down. Remember that body fat takes up a whole lot more space than muscle mass does. A pound still equals a pound, whether it's fat or muscle, but the amount of space it takes up is a lot less. So keep that in mind as you're looking at these results. Now, the last thing I want to show you is our little dude. When you do your scan, it's going to have 4 numbers in each quadrant and 1 on the torso. And then there's going to be a word. It's either going to say above, below, or normal. I hate the word normal, but if it says over, that means you have more muscle mass than is average for someone your height and age. That doesn't mean that's a bad thing, but that means that if you do see a slight reduction in your muscle mass, you're in the clear. It's totally okay. Now, if you're in the normal, then don't worry about it at all. And if you're below, that just means that InBody says you should gain a little bit more muscle mass. So that's the only thing that those words mean. So if you have questions about your InBody scans, please come talk to us so we can walk you through the comparison of the two scans. The last thing I'm going to tell you is the story that I gave at 5-week testing this weekend regarding your scale. We are all so conditioned to want that scale number to want to go down. We want it to go down. Oh my gosh, the scale. We want it to stop looking at that scale number. When I was a senior in high school, I weighed 123 pounds. I was real slender, but I wasn't very healthy. I didn't do anything athletic. I'd never played sports. I couldn't even run a mile without stopping, but I was skinny. I still have my senior prom dress, and that was in 1997. So it's been a hot minute. And I weigh 150 pounds now. So 27 pounds, right? 27 pounds more than I did back then. And my senior prom dress fits me better than it did back then. And that just goes to show that even though I weigh more, I have a whole lot more muscle mass now and less body fat, which body fat was taking up a whole lot more space. So don't let the scale discourage you. Look at your water, look at the body fat, look at the muscle mass, and then if you have any questions or if something's looking fishy, come talk to us. All right, you guys have a great day and we'll see you on the mat.